Welcome back. Let's quickly solve this question. So this is not in the past question. So I just brought the question so that we can solve it in case we are given any bisection problem or question in the exams. We can know how to solve it quickly. So find the root of the equation x cubed minus x squared minus 1 is equal to 0 using bisection method. So you know in bisection method f of a is less than 0 and f of b is greater than 0. Let's test f of 1. Let's check what it will give us. So we have 1 to the power of 3 minus 1 squared minus 1. 1 to the power of 3, 1 minus 1 minus 1. This gives us what? Minus 1. So you know that minus 1 is less than 0. So we are going to have f of what? 2. Let's test it. We are going to have 2 to the power of what? 3 minus 2 squared minus 1. So 2 to the power of 3 is what? 8 minus 4 minus 1. So this will give us what? This and this will give us what? Minus 5. So we are going to have what? 5. Therefore, x1 for bisection will be a plus what? B all over 2. And our value for a is what? When it is less than. So we have what? 1. When it is less than is for a is less than 0. So when this number we put is less than 0, we are having what? At x is equals to 1. So plus b when it is greater than 0 at x is equals to what? 2. So all over 2. So we are going to have 3 over 2. So our x1 will be what? 1.5. So at f of x1, we are now going to do at f of what? X1. What value are we going to get at f of x1? We are going to get what? 1.5. So we are going to have f of x1, which is 1.5, right? So which is equals to, anywhere we see this, we put 1.5. So 1.5 to the power of 3 minus 1.5 squared minus 1. So what are we going to get? 1.5 to the power of 3. So if you do it well, so our interval will now be, for the one we are going to use for x2, it will now be, we still have our 1 and 1.5. Remember, our aim is the one that give us minus and the one that give us positive. So this place is A, this place is what? B. So something like that. So we are now going to look for x2. So it will be 1 plus 1.5 all over 2. So which will give us what? 2.5 all over 2. So which will give us 1 point, let me check, 2.5 divided by 2, 1.25. 1.25. So f of x2 will be what? Put it here. 1.25 3 minus 1.25 2 minus 1. So let's do it well. If you do it well, you are going to get this. So this is the value you are going to get. F of x2, this is. So let's look for where the root lies. So we are going to have where is it having negative? So we are going to now replace this 1.5 with which one gave us this 1.25? When we put f of 1.25, it gave us negative. So 1.25 comma. So we still retain this 1.5 because it's what? Positive. So x3 will now be 1.25 plus 1.5 all over 2, which will give us what? 1.25 plus 1.5. So it gives us 2.75 all over 2. 2.75 divided by 2 will give us our x3 to be, will give us what? 1.375. So we are now going to look for f of x3, which will be, putting it here, it will be 1.375 to the power of 3 minus 1.375 to the power of what? 2 minus 1. So if you do it well, let's check what it will give us. So this is the answer we are going to get if you do it well. Now, let's check for the interval so that we can use it to do bisection for f of x4. So our interval will be what? Our interval will be what? Let's look for where we have, this one is negative, so it's going to replace this. What gives us the negative is this. So we have 1.375, comma, this one is still here, 1.5. So if you get another value that gives us positive, we are going to trace this one and start using that one. So f of x4, sorry, yes, x4, not f of x4. We have not done x4. So x4 is equals to this and this, 1.375 plus 1.5 all over 2. So which will give us what? 1.375. Then divided by 2. So it will give us x4 to be 1.4375. So these are x4. So then f of x4 will be what? F of x4 will be what? Put x4 here. So we are going to have 1.4375 cube minus 1.4375 squared minus 1. So if you do it well, see what you are going to get. If you do it well, this is what you are going to get. So for the interval, that's where the root lies, will now be, which one gave us negative? F of 1.4375 give us negative. So our interval will be 1.4375, comma. So we still be using our this thing 1.5. It's still at work because we have not gotten anyone that give us positive. If we get anyone that gives us positive, we are going to change it. So we are going to go for x4, x5. x5 will be 1.4375 plus 1.5 all over 2. So 1.4375 plus 1.5 divided by 2 will give us our x5 to be 1.46875. So we are going to have f of x5 will be what? Put it there. So we have 1.46875 cube minus 1.46875 squared, then minus 1. If you do it well, you are going to get this value. So this is what you are going to get if you do it well. So we'll be having these are x5. So our interval will be, this one have changed the narrative. So this one is still negative, right? So we have 1.4375, comma. Then we are not going to be using positive 1.5 again. It's have tried. So we have another one that yield positive. So which value is it then? 1.46875. So we are now going to iterate x6, which is what? 1.4375 plus 1.46875 all over 2. So our x6 will be, x sub 6 will be what? Let's add and divide. So this is the value we are going to get for x6. So let's put the interval. Our interval will be what? So our interval will be what? This one yielded us positive, right? So we are still on positive. Okay, so our interval will be this one. Okay, which one is our last interval? This and this for positive, right? This one is for negative. So we are going to still have this as our interval, which is one, which is this one. Hey, this thing is still wet. So we'll be having 1.4 1.4375. Then this one headed us what? Positive. So we are going to replace this with the positive one. So which one give us this positive? Axis. Wow, no interval yet. Let us do for f of x6. Sorry. So f of x6 before our interval. So f of x6. So f of x6 will be what? Put this thing here. 1.4531. Then minus 1.4531 squared minus 1 minus 1. So minus 1. So we'll be having squared minus 1. So when you punch it where, we'll be having this. Let me proceed. So I don't know. NEPA is just taking light. So I'll just try and finish this video before this light finishes or off. So we are going to be having this. So our interval will be what? This one gave us negative. What gave us negative? 1.4531, comma. We are still using our positive 1.46875. So we are now going to do for x7. Our x7 will be what? 1.4531 plus, remember this one is f of what? 1.4531. Give us this. Plus 1.46875. So we are going to do 1.4531 plus 1.46875 all over 2. Okay, I don't even know whether I divided it by 2. 31 plus 1.46875 divided by 2. So we are going to get 1.460925. So have I been approximating these values to 3D? Okay, I've been keeping. Okay. So my f of x7 will be 1.460925. Then cube minus 1.460925 squared minus 1. So let me use my phone. When you do it well, you are going to get this. So our f of x7, if you do it well, you are going to get this. So our interval will now be, since we are getting negative, what made us to get this negative is 1.460925. So we are going to replace this thing with this that made it to be negative. Then we still keep the positive 1.46875. So our x8 will give us what? Our x8 will give us what? 1.460925 plus 1.46875 all over 2. So let's do it. 1.460925 plus 1.46875 give us 2.929675 all over 2. So 2.929675 divided by 2. 2.929675 divided by 2 will give you what? Our x8 will be what? 1.4643 approximately. So now we are going to look for f of x2. So let me clean this side. So we now look for f of x8. So f of x8, which is what? 1.4643, which is equals to 1.4643 to the power of 3 minus 1.4643 to the power of 2 minus 1. So if you do it well, let me do it with my calculator. So let us look for the interval where the root lies, because we are getting negative. So we are going to trace this one. So we are going to put 1.4643, comma, and then leaving this one still 1.46875. So for x9 will now be 1.4643 plus 1.46875. So all over 2. So when you do it, you are going to be getting our x9 to be, let me do it first. The value you get. So we do for f of x9 will now be 1.466525 3 minus 1.466525 minus 1. So do it where you get this value. So if you notice, we have gotten our f of x9, which is this. So if you keep on iterating, we'll be getting values. Now if you notice at this x9 and x8, they are similar. So we are getting 1.46 something something. We are getting 1.46. So they are close. You get. So our root, the root of the equation of the polynomial lies at x is equal to 1.46. So if you notice closely, this and this, we have gotten the same answer. So we are going to do what? Stop. But if you do not get the same answer, you're supposed to do what? Continue. Why I'm not getting like exact value with this one is just because I noticed that when I was doing the approximation, sometimes I would do to 4 decimal places, sometimes I will write the whole value. So it will affect by this thing, accuracy of the answer to be the same. But nevertheless, our x, the polynomial lies at what? X is equal to 1.46. As you see it here, So that's it. Thank you for watching and may God bless you. Bye bye.